Hello and welcome to the demonstration video for the WTIN.com Smart Textiles Intelligence channel page, which is located just over here underneath the Intelligence banner, where it says Smart Textiles just over here. Now the first thing we'll do to access the channel page is to log into the website, which is located just in the top right corner where it says sign in. If we click on that, we can see these are pre-filled, but if we just want to enter your username and your password, you can also select Remember Me. And once you've typed those in, you can press enter, and selecting Remember Me will actually keep us logged into the website on this particular device. So if we press enter, now you can see that we're logged in as it says welcome in the corner here. And this means we can now access the Smart Textiles channel page. So if we click on that. Now, the Smart Textiles page has been created to address a very high demand and huge area of growth for the smart textiles and wearable technology markets. Through an ongoing series of reports, the Smart Textiles channel page will be delivering technical intelligence on the materials, manufacturing technologies, and application areas of smart textiles. The areas that will be looked into include electronic textiles, sensor materials, energy harvesting technologies for textile applications, and materials and manufacturing techniques such as printing electronics on textiles and stretchable inks. Now you can find the information on the page if we just scroll down. The first thing you'll see is the latest articles just at the top here, these three. If we scroll down a bit further, we'll then reach the intelligence and the insight sections there on the left and right hand sides of the page. The intelligence section discusses all the latest developments for smart textiles, all the related technology to smart textiles, and everything you need to be aware of in order to successfully implement and gain your knowledge in this particularly fast-moving market. Now, we can scroll through the latest reports using these circles here at the bottom of the page so we can see what's been published recently. If we want to open up one of these reports, we can click on that over here. And you'll see these intelligence reports actually go into a lot of detail. This particular report that I've selected here is the second part of a two-part report all about sensors being used in smart textiles. And if we want to scroll down the page here, you can see we're talking about different types of sensors, what their different applications may be, and the advantages of those and where they may be used in different circumstances. And we can just keep on scrolling down here so you can get a good idea of the level of detail that we do go into when we discuss these different topics in our intelligence reports. And again, just talking about different types of sensors and how people are using them. Now, these intelligence reports are very much focused from an innovation and R&D perspective. So if you were looking to learn more about these different technologies and how to successfully implement them, then these technical reports would be ideal for that particular job role. What you'll also see is that we do market reports. Now, the market intelligence is a little different compared to the technical intelligence, whereas the market intelligence will look more at things like growth and trends in different products and in different regions. So if you want to open up one of these reports, you'll see the difference here is very much looking at consumer attitudes, and this is all from a survey that's been carried out and presents a general overview of what consumer attitudes are toward the use of wearable technology and smart sensors in sportswear and how those have been applied. And this is all checking how aware people are, how perceptive they are to these actual technologies being used in their clothing, and just giving you an overview of what the general market perspective is right now and the way that it's moving. Here you can see we've actually talked about some of the challenges in the adoption of smart clothing, how in the early stages this was something very hard to actually incorporate into clothing, but now with new technologies people are actually becoming a lot more perceptive to that, and it does look like something that is going to grow a huge amount with all the different technology and opportunities that smart clothing presents. Now, if we just want to go back to the main page, You'll see next to the intelligence, we then have the insight. So the insight is more of the practical examples of how people and different companies are actually implementing smart textiles into their different products. So if we scroll across here, we can see some more examples of that. But this one is a very good example of how fabrics are actually poised to become the new software. So here, talking about some research that's been done at MIT and how different companies are actually implementing this technology and being supported by different associations to use the latest technology in their products. So you do have some examples there of these different companies, and this Insight article is basically saying this is what people are doing with their new smart textile technology. And if we just scroll down the page, the next section is companies on the left and product innovation on the right. The companies are looking at different organizations that either produce or use different smart technologies or smart textiles in their clothing, and we can actually look at some of these if we go to this one here. You'll see firstly we've got an overview of the company and what they're actually producing. Then we look at the products themselves and talk about what they do, what sets them apart, and what their advantages are due to the smart textile technology that they're incorporating. You can see some more examples there of different wearables that they do offer. So it's a good way to just learn about these different companies, what their product offerings are, and if it's something that you'd like to reach out and find out a bit more about, or just to expand your own knowledge of knowing what is available out there in smart textiles. The next section to the right is product innovation. Now, as it suggests, these are cutting-edge innovation of what's going on in smart textiles. However, a lot of these are actually coming from an academic level. So if we go into some of these here, we can see that this particular article, if we scroll down, you'll see that this is coming from the Shenzhen Institute of Advanced Technology in China. And it's an innovation that they've produced. And here, we're talking about the purpose of this, so how they've used these nanofibers to enhance chemical and biological protection. And so here we're talking about the purpose of that, what this innovation is intended to do. The approach just underneath then looks at how it's actually been put together, looking at the different methodology that they've used, all the different components that actually comprise this product. And then the results, which is saying when this was tested, how did it actually perform? Did it do as intended? And was anything else found out when that was actually put to the test? If we scroll down a little further, you'll be able to see we then have an example here of a similar product that we are aware of that is actually commercially available right now, which also achieves a similar result as the product innovation that we're talking about. So if we're ever aware that there's actually an alternative technology available out there, we will make our subscribers aware of that by talking about those alternatives over here and listing those as different examples. Now, what we'll then tend to go onto once we've talked about the commercially available and non-commercially available products, we'll go back to talking about this particular innovation and saying what the impact is. So if this did come to market, what could that potential impact be? What are the different applications for this particular product? And is it something viable? Is it scalable? Could it be produced on a large level? So looking here, what the potential applications may be. And just going back to the main page again, we can just scroll down slightly more down the page, and you'll see we can then come to the presentations. Now, WTIN hosts their own events, including the Rethink Materials conference, and at that particular conference, smart textiles is often talked about. So what we've done here is recorded any of these relevant presentations and made them available for our subscribers to watch online, which is just a case of clicking on these links here and then viewing the embedded video on this page itself. So you can see there you can come and watch these full videos Typically they're about 20 minutes long and talk about the different challenges people face in making these different wearable technologies, how they've been able to overcome them, and new innovations that have come apart as a result of that. What we then have on the right is the news. Now the news, compared to the insight and the intelligence that we looked at earlier on the page, the news tends to be the less influential things that are going on. So it's more of the smaller updates about smart textiles, still very interesting to know, but it's actually the smaller things that might not affect everyone, whereas the insights will give you a bigger picture and provide insight into these different topics that we're talking about, answering the questions that you might have, and the intelligence goes to an extreme level of detail, really publishing these in-depth reports, giving you all the knowledge that you need to know about that technology, whereas the news is typically just the smaller updates, but still keeping you informed of what's going on in smart textiles every day. The next section on the page is what we call Around the Web. Just scroll down underneath the news. What this is doing is WTIN is looking around the web for any relevant articles that have been published, in this case about smart textiles. And here we can click on any of these links and that will take us to this third-party website where we'll be able to read a bit more on this particular topic. And there you can see, you can read that website here. So it's just giving you an overview of everything else that's going on that's not published by WTIN, but we still want our subscribers to be aware of anything that will be helpful for them. So that's why I've got this around the web coverage of third-party articles that we're also monitoring for any relevant terms. And then just underneath the around the web section is the journals. In this case, it's the Future Textiles magazine, and that covers technical textiles and obviously a lot of smart textiles and wearable technology that's being incorporated into that. So this is a digital magazine, and if you click on the thumbnail here, that will take you straight through to the latest edition. And then it's a very easy case of clicking through the pages, much like you would when you turn the pages of a physical magazine. Then you can actually click to zoom in, and then you can click on any of these links here in the contents and that will take you straight through to one of these articles here. Now what you can also do with these magazines is actually download them as a PDF file, which I find is a little easier to read. So you just select there to download as a PDF. That will then save a copy onto your computer, which is ideal if you're ever traveling and you want to take something with you. You can download that on your computer, your laptop, your iPad, etc. So you can just download those PDFs. Furthermore, you can actually search for any terms in the magazine. It's all searchable text. So if you were to search for something like the word wearable, you can see there it's been mentioned 36 times in this magazine. And then finally, you can also choose to print these. If you do prefer to have a physical copy, you can just select print there and that will print off the magazine for you. Now I'll just close that and go back to the main page, and you can see there we've reached the end of the Smart Textiles channel page. Now I'm just going to scroll back up and show you a couple of other features that are actually available to subscribers of the website of Smart Textiles. Now, what's been shown on the Smart Textiles channel page is obviously the latest content, but if you want to see what else has been published on the page, you can actually use the search function over here to look for any historical articles. Now, if we click on search without putting any terms in the bar, that will take us through to the advanced search page. So from this page, we can now scroll down, and on the left-hand side, we have these multiple filters to choose from, and on channels, we can actually press View More and then select Smart Textiles. Now that's filtered all the results based on Smart Textiles alone, but you'll also see that we are including both third-party around the web news and the WTIN news in there. So if we want to look at just the WTIN.com content, we can click on that. And then from there, we can use further filters to see if we want to specify by news, by insight, presentations, or different intelligence types as well. So you can use all these filters on the side here to find what you're looking for from within Smart Textiles. Now that's very useful to see all the information that's been published in the past Obviously, you can do a search to find all of that information, or you can go on the channel page to find the latest information. But as a subscriber, we'd also like you to stay informed about all the latest information going forwards. So you can do that with a feature called the Watchlist, which is just in the corner over here with the binoculars. And if we click on that, that will take us through to the Watchlist creation page, which is just over here. Now, the Watchlist is a personalized email alert system based around different criteria that is personalized around you and your job role. And you can actually choose from a combination of different sectors, themes, regions, keywords, and you can choose how often you'd like to receive this update throughout the week. So we can start by opening up the sectors. Now for Smart Textiles, we actually have a category of its own. We can open that up and see that it also incorporates wearable technology. So if we click on that, already just by clicking that, we've actually done enough to create a newsletter, a watch list, that's going to give us all the information about Smart Textiles. However, we can go further than that and add a theme. So the theme is what we want to know about Smart Textiles, and this is where it becomes a lot more prevalent towards different job roles. So you can choose to monitor things like research and development for Smart Textiles, what different companies may be doing, or even what events are taking place that you might want to attend and find out more from going to those. So it's a combination of the sectors, being the Smart Textiles, and then the themes is what you want to know about the area. You can go even further than that with the regional coverage, which just lets you choose by a different continent there. Now, if you don't select anything, it will give you worldwide coverage, which is usually the preferred option by most people. But still, if you've got a job role that focuses on one particular geography, you could utilize the regional filter for that purpose. And then lastly, you have the option to filter by different keywords. Now, this is great if there's anything particularly that you want to find out, you want to keep track of, any different industry terminology. So you could even use things like sensors, type that in as a word. And then if you've already selected the sector as being about Smart Textiles, then the sensors keyword will look for any articles that actually talk about sensors to do with Smart Textiles. Oh, you could do that slightly differently if you want. Instead of choosing the sector being Smart Textiles, you could instead type Smart Textiles and maybe even wearable into there, and it's going to look for any articles that mention those terms, and then you could combine that with a different sector. So if we deselect the Smart Textiles that we chose earlier and maybe just choose something like apparel over here, that would then look for any mention of any smart textiles or wearable terms within apparel. So it's up to you how you want to do it, but there's a few different options there if you'd like to track by keyword or just by a sector or a combination of all of these different filters on here. And once you've done those, it's just a case of naming your watch list something relevant. Now you can have as many of these watch lists running alongside each other as you want. They all come delivered on one single email, so it's good to give them a relevant name, because then when it comes to you by email, they'll all be split up by the different names that you give them. So something relevant there related to the terms that you've put in. And then the final step is just choosing how often, what frequency you'd like to receive that throughout the week. And once you've done that, it's just a case of pressing save and confirming your changes. Now, once you've saved that watch list, that's great. And that means you're going to be receiving this new newsletter personalized around your own interests there on the days that you've chosen. However, you may be already aware that WTIN.com sends out a variety of different newsletters throughout the week. Now we can review that and other settings just in the settings page if we scroll to the top. And then we click on My WTIN and then select Settings just over here. Now you'll see some personal details here. This is where you can also change your password if you wish to do so. Just click Change Password, type in a new password there, and then scroll to the bottom and press Save Settings. That will confirm that. Now, if you want to change any of your email settings, this is where you can also opt in or opt out of any of these. So what you've got here is the daily newsletter, which is delivered every day, and that contains the top news across everything that WTIN.com covers. So not only smart textiles, but everything else as well. So it's a good way to stay updated about everything that's going on. However, it will be quite a general newsletter. A good alternative to that one is the weekly newsletter, which again provides the top news, but it's now across the entire week, and that's published every Friday. So it will be a summary of the top news for that week every Friday, which is a good alternative, as that way you're not getting an email every day, but you're still finding out everything that's gone on that particular week within textiles. The channel newsletters can be expanded, and you can see the full list of those over there. Again, these go out once per week, but every single channel has its own channel newsletter. So throughout the week, if you've selected all of these, you will be getting a significant number of newsletters giving you the top updates for that particular sector's week. Again, you can choose to opt out of any of those that won't be so relevant for you. It is a good idea to keep informed of the top news for that week if there are any of these sectors that are relevant to you. And you can also see Smart Textiles has its own newsletter as well. But it is a good idea just to opt out of these if you don't think they're all that relevant. Again, just to free up some space in your inbox and make sure the information that you get will be of benefit to you. And the last setting on there is to receive digital magazine notifications. That will send you an email alert whenever there's a new digital magazine available. It will include a synopsis of what will be covered in that particular issue, and also a direct link to the magazine. Most of the publications are published with 6 issues per year, which means that every couple of months or so there'll be a new issue available. So if you do have that selected, it's a pretty useful tool just to let you know whenever new magazines are available online. So that's how you can stay updated with everything that we're doing. You've got a combination of different newsletters. You've got the watch list to personalize the content that you wish to receive. And obviously you can come onto the page itself and have a look what latest articles are on Smart Textiles right now. If you do ever see anything on here that you'd like to learn more about, something we also promote is what we call analyst access. This means that the analysts that are writing this information are available to have discussions with, and if there's something you've seen covered on here, you'd like to know a bit more about that, you have some questions and you'd like to have a bit of a discussion with us, we definitely encourage that. And if that is the case, please feel free to get in touch with us and we can arrange a discussion for you about anything that you've seen covered in your subscription. Now, if you do want to contact us, the best way is either by phone or by email. If you want, we do have a live chat facility just in the corner here when our agents are available. If not, you can leave us an offline message. And if you scroll to the bottom of any page, you will also see we have contact us on there. It does have our contact details and a list of current WTIN personnel. Okay, so I'd like to thank you very much for your time. I hope it's been beneficial, and do feel free to contact us if there's anything else you'd like to know. Thank you and goodbye.